If you've been a photographer for more than 5 minutes, you know about the ongoing bag dilemma, the quest for the perfect camera bag. It's the one that holds all of your gear, distributes the weight comfortably and efficiently, and just makes you look like a total badass while you're out there shooting. Yet, for the same reason, every bag we try ends up disappointing us somehow. It's too small, it's too big, it's too heavy, it's too stiff, or it ends up just not being practical. Every photographer seems to have an addiction to camera bags, and it's almost embarrassing how many bags we have owned. We have always been convinced that the next bag, this is the one, this is the bag, until it's not. Because what we end up learning is that the dream bag, the perfect bag, the camera bag, the one bag to rule them all is just a myth. Well, that I guess was true until I found a system that actually works for me. And it's not a single bag, it's actually 3 bags. And today I want to share with you the system that has worked for me, and maybe it'll work for you as well. But before we do that, if this is your first time here, my name is Dave. I'm a photographer and videographer from the Bay Area of California. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. I post 2 videos a week unless something goes horribly wrong, like last week. All right, so here is what I've learned. I need 3 levels of carry, and then I have a bonus one as well I'm gonna cover at the end. I need something small for whenever I am out on a discreet photo walk or a discreet shoot, or I'm just on a job where it's gonna be like 1 camera, 1 lens, and that's all I'm going to need. I need something mid-size for when I'm out and maybe I don't quite know how I want to approach what I'm going to shoot, or maybe I'm experiencing something for the first time and I'm a little unclear about what to expect, and I want to have a little bit of variety. So I need something mid-size for that. And I need something large for those shoots where I'm going somewhere with very little expectation about what's going to be there, or I know it's going to require a large range of gear to get the job done. And I want to bring it all. I want to bring everything that I think I would need for the shoot that I'm going to be doing. So I need something large for that. So that's a summary of the system that has worked well for me for years. And now let's take a look at what I'm using to check those boxes of small, mid-size, and large. So let's start with the small. And for me, my small carry is not a camera bag, it's just a fanny pack. I will carry this when I want to be discreet or when I want a 1 camera, 1 lens setup. Now on this fanny pack, I've also added these shoulder straps because it lets the bag remain in place. It doesn't shift around like a typical fanny pack or sling does. And this little combo, while not incredibly inexpensive, is linked below. You can see it for yourself and kind of how I've built this out, but it does a great job. What I'll typically do when I'm out is wear it on my chest, and this setup allows me to put in my Leica with a fixed lens and zip it up. And you honestly don't really even know what I'm carrying, and it doesn't look like I'm out there with a camera because it's just a fanny pack. I will typically use this setup here when I'm in a big city and I'm not super aware of my surroundings, or I am very aware of my surroundings. But I'll also use this setup when I'm just out with friends for the day or out with my family for the day. Like for instance, this is my Disneyland setup with the kids. I just go to the park like this. Because you can easily switch from being dad to being a photographer to having lunch with your friends. Another setup you can do with a small carry like this, if the camera is going to be out, you can throw an extra lens in this bag, or maybe 1 or 2 other small things. Throw this bag down on your side and just open carry your camera. So this is another way I use the small kit. I have an alternate lens and then I have my camera out. I would typically do this if I'm on a shoot that I want to take 2 lenses and 1 camera. Now let me just say that a small carry will really be contextual to what you shoot. For me, the fanny pack works because I shoot a Leica M and Leica M lenses, which are very small. But let's say I shot Canon or Sony. This is my friend Jen's small carry. This is her Ona bag. It's very small. And you can take a camera like this A7R5 with a 16-35 and place it in the bag, close the bag up, and some of those same principles apply. You have this small carry one camera, one lens. And for this, it just looks like a little side bag. It doesn't scream, I'm a camera bag. You can be discreet, or that same mentality, you can carry your camera and carry your second lens in the small bag. So no matter what you use, having a small bag setup will serve you really well to go out with some discretion, or just to take a very small carry, and you don't have to worry about a ton of weight, and you can just fulfill the vision you have when you went out with your small carry. All right, so next up, let's talk about the mid-size carry, because this is my most common carry, and honestly, over the years, it's been where I struggled the most to find the system that works best for me. Now, I've tried a lot of mid-size setups. I've had messenger bags, I've had backpacks, I've tried various ways to configure bringing a couple of bodies and a handful of lenses and accessories out on a shoot. I finally landed on something a few years ago that has really worked best for me, and it wasn't a camera bag. In fact, it starts with a very inexpensive item, and that is a small Peak Design camera cube. This is my default setup on a Peak Design camera cube. I have a big open space here, a big open space here, and two small spaces in the center. And here's what I do. I have this small camera cube and I load it up. I put a Leica body with a lens on one side, creating it like a baby here. I put a second Leica body and lens on the other side. Maybe it's an M6, maybe it's the monochrome, and the M11's up here. And in the two center spots, I'll put my other two lenses. And now I've got this loaded out small camera cube with two bodies and four lenses in this bag. And this is the mid-size carry for me. But then I'll take this and I'll place it in one of two bags. The first bag that I'll place it in is this Filson Rugged Twill medium field bag. So let's go ahead and put it in. And here's how it looks when it's inside the bag. It fits perfectly in this bag. Now this bag is quite old. I bought it from an estate sale of a guy whose father had passed away, and this bag was his father's duck hunting bag. And after several baths of OxyClean, the smell and the blood left the bag, and I've been using it as a camera bag for several years. Now this is very much my style, but it's also super practical because that small camera cube fits perfectly in here, and there's not a lot of room for anything else. There are these two front pockets that are quite large as well, and this is where I might put film or filters. I can shut the bag and be on my way. Now I said one of two bags. This is bag one. And bag two is also a Filson bag, but this is the 24-hour 10 briefcase. Again, this is not a camera bag. If I just show you the opening, it is massive on the inside. It has a laptop pocket, and it also has two very large pockets on the front. Now I use the other Filson bag when I'm heading out from my home and I'm going out for a day shoot and I'm bringing this kit. I'm typically using bag one, we'll call it. This bag is a travel bag for me because the cube goes in the bag, as you can see, and there's a lot of headroom still. With that laptop sleeve, I can place a laptop like a MacBook right into the bag. So now I've got a laptop and I've got my cameras in the bag. And there's still some headroom. When I went to London last month, this was my personal item on the flight. And it was my laptop, my camera kit. In the pockets were chargers and various accessories that I needed. And yet there was still plenty of headroom for me to slide in the Nintendo Switch because you know, you gotta get all those shrines and light roots and Tears of the Kingdom, and that's a lot of work. And I even had room to put a sweater in here on top of that. And this personal item on a flight really is perfect as a medium camera kit. And when I get to where I'm going, I simply take out the laptop and I take out the other things I don't need. And this is my camera bag when I'm traveling. Another cool thing about the Filson brand is if you live near a Filson store and you need to rewax your Filson bag, like I needed to rewax this tin bag because it had dried out over the last couple of years, and I was going to London where it was going to rain. If you call the Filson store and let them know you're coming in, they will set up a station so you can re-wax your bag. They're going to provide the wax for you and everything you need to do it, as well as some instruction to help you out along the way. So right before I went to London, I went to the Filson store in San Francisco, and I got to re-wax this bag in the store while hanging out, talking bags, talking photography, and I left there with a bag ready for the rain. Filson really is a great bag company, and I can't tell you that enough. I've got a link right below to the 24-hour Filson 10 bag. I really think that it is the best bag I have ever owned. There's a link below for you to check it out. They have a few different colors of this bag. They even have a leather version as well. If you shoot Leica, it is like absolutely perfect with that small camera cube in it. So we've talked about the small carry, we've talked about the mid-size carry. Now let's talk about the large carry. Large carries used to be a pretty important part of my life back when I shot Sony and before that Canon. But today, a large carry really is just getting me from point A to point B with all of the gear that I need. And what I mean by that is that the large carry system gets me to my destination, but it's not the bag I'm going to carry around when I get there. I'm typically bringing something like the mid-size bag as well, because I just don't want to carry a lot of gear and a lot of weight anymore. Those days are far behind me. Now, I've had this bag for a very long time, I think since it came out, and it has been my large carry, and this is a Peak Design travel bag. In this bag on a normal day, I am storing a large camera cube, and inside the large camera cube is a medium camera cube, and inside of that medium camera cube is a lot of different dividers from these systems over the years. I have taken this bag all over the world with me to carry gear. A younger Dave enjoyed carrying all of that heavy stuff. The Dave today does not. And these days, when I take the large Peak Design camera bag, it's truly just to get me there. I will just typically open it up in the back of the car and work out of it to fill the mid-size bag for when I go out to carry things. Now, I mentioned a bonus item, and it's a large carry item similar to the Peak Design bag. I have a Pelican Air flight case. This is a 1535, and it is really the same logic as the Peak Design travel bag. I will use this to get to the location, open it up in the back, and work out of it. But of course, I'm not carrying this around. And I bring this up just to say that the large travel bag for me plays the same role as this. How I decide which one I'm gonna take is really just about what I'm gonna do when I land. If I'm going from the airport to a rental car and I'm working out of a rental car, I'm gonna take the Pelican case because it has wheels. I can roll it through the airport like luggage, and it easily goes in the overhead compartment. But if I'm going somewhere where I'm going from the airport to a train or to a taxi or an Uber or something, and I don't want to carry a Pelican case through a city, I'm bringing the Peak Design bag. But ultimately, the logic for the large carry is work out of this bag, but don't carry this bag around. This 3-bag setup has allowed me to focus on the shoot as the end game and not acquiring bags and trying bags as the end game. Having a small, a mid-size, and a large system to support the shoot that I'm doing is the ultimate goal and the ultimate win. And it's also settled any need or desire for another bag because I'm not gonna find any bag that serves me better than simply having something small, having something mid-sized, and having something large. And I would just encourage you to apply that same mentality to your bag quest as well. Instead of thinking about the one bag to rule them all, think about the different types of shoots that you might go out and do and find a practical and functional bag to do that thing. Of all the bags I mentioned today, the only bag that was designed for photography is the Peak Design bag. My fanny pack is just a fanny pack. My Filson bags are just bags. But my large carry, the Peak Design bag, and of course the Pelican case, have systems that were designed to carry gear. That small camera cube works so well, and it is such a no-brainer. It is inexpensive. Hook it up. I've got links to all of this stuff below so you can take a look and see if any of this stuff may work for you, but if not, just find what does. Follow the system and don't stress too much about the bag itself. And don't get sucked into all the hype around new bags or the next bag and the latest and greatest bag. Because unless there's a new category of bags outside of small, mid-size, and large, you probably don't need it. Just serve the shoot. So go out there, find your small, your mid-size, your large, in the style in which resonates with you, and be content with your setup. If this video resonated with you and you found it helpful and you're not subscribed to this channel, be sure to subscribe. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.